Hey shooters, welcome back to the Shooters Resource Channel. Today we're going to be comparing two pistols. They're both micro compacts. The first is the Sig Macro P365, the Sig Sauer or Sauer macaroni. The performance in this gun is pretty flawless. It's an excellent gun. It shot very well. It shot very fast. It shot very accurate. And another pistol I just finished the review on, the Glock 48. Both kind of fill the same role in my arsenal. The Glock 48 is a great gun as well, so I'm interested to see how these two different pistols will compare to each other. If you haven't already, go ahead and take a second, hit that like and subscribe button to support the channel. The Sig X Macro was introduced in August of 2022, and the Glock 48 was introduced in January of 2019. Now, they're pretty much the same size. The slide's a little longer on the Glock 48, but not by much. Essentially, the height on the Sig Macro is 5.2, and the height on the Glock is 5.04. So Macro a little taller. The width is 1.1 inches on both, and the sight radius on the Macro is 5.1, while it's 5.9 on the Glock 48. The Macro's coming in at 21.5 ounces, whereas the Glock 48 is slightly lighter at 20.74 ounces with an unloaded magazine. All right, shooters, first up, we're just going to do some draw and fire 5. Well, let's make it 6. We'll do some bill drills, and we'll see how fast these two pistols are versus each other. Maybe the compensator will help on the P365 Macro. Maybe it won't. We're about to find out. You know, the longer barrel and higher velocity of the 48, will that cause any additional rocking? Both have very low bore axes, so I'm just interested to see how these two stack up. I'm guessing they're going to be fairly similar, but let's see. All right, that first bill drill was in 2.35, so that is fairly fast for drawing and firing 6 shots. Looks like my draw was in 1.2 seconds. Pretty slow, but the follow-up shots were fairly fast. So let's run another bill drill through the P365 and see how it holds up. All right, 2.52. Not too bad. I stuck or froze just there for a second on one of those shots, so that added a little bit, but you know, it looks like 2.3 or something like that. 2.2 is kind of what I would normally be shooting here. Where's the accuracy at? I'm finding that I'm hitting a little high. Some of that might be me, but you know, pretty tight group right there in the center. I've got one drop shot that was probably on one of my draws. I didn't really see when that came into play. But now let's try the Glock 48. All right, that was I actually fired 7 shots. I thought I had 6 in there, but that was 7 shots in 2.39 seconds. I feel like that Glock 48 was a little easier to cook faster with, so let's try it again. I actually shot on my target where I had all my bullet holes from the Sig, and I actually shot high on that as well. See the target there? I started creeping up. So let me try it on a fresh target right here with 6 rounds in the with 6 rounds in the gun. .25. I think I just need to work on my rapid fire shooting. I had a nice 4-shot group there just above the 0 zone. First one was in the 0 zone, and the top one was in the head. So definitely fast, but not as accurate. That was mostly me. Again, I'm just trying to get my groove back, trying to get the fast trigger finger, the accuracy, all that back. So it's going to take a little while. Let's tape up those shots, and I'm going to try it one more time with the Glock. I did just get done with a long range session with the Sig P365, so it's at a little bit of an advantage because I just put a couple 100 rounds through it. And so the triggers are a little different between the two. So I'll count the very first group and second one as kind of warm-ups. We'll do a third one just to validate. But the Glock really was shooting pretty fast. All right, that was 2.39. Had a slight delay there on one of the shots. Shots looked really good. Just had one outside of the 0 zone. The capacity on the Sig Macro is the highlight of this gun. It is 17 rounds, which is really impressive. And the Glock 48 is 10 rounds. However, the Shield magazine offers 15. Now, there has been complaints out there that the Shield magazine has a few problems with it. But for me, I've got 3 of them of the Gen 2s, and I haven't had a single bobble after hundreds of rounds through both the Glock 48 and the Glock 43X. Now, there are a lot of pros and cons with these guns. Looking at the Sig X Macro, a lot of pros here. You got the 17 round capacity, which is super impressive in such a small package. It does come with Sig's X-ray day and nighttime sights, which are really nice. Compact grip, great looking gun, great sandpaper style texturing. It's the P365 platform, which has the interchangeable trigger module, so you can swap out your grips and slides. This gun comes optics ready, and it's completely compatible with the Romeo 0. Another big thing on this pistol is it's got the integral compensator on the slide. However, I kind of found this to be a little gimmicky. I really don't think that this helped me with muzzle flip or like hitting targets at a faster pace. When I was running the Glock 48 right next to it, which, you know, similar slide length, maybe a little bit longer and no compensation, it was just as easy to keep the gun on target. Now, when we look at the Glock, the pros include, well, it's the Glock platform. This is a trusted platform. It's known for reliability. No big problems there. The Gen 5 does have the front serrations. However, that's super popular with other brands now. But it's nice to see Glock to finally come around with that. It does come with a match grade marksman barrel. However, I don't really notice that the marksman barrel is being much more accurate or really any more measurably accurate than any of the other Glock barrels I've ever shot. This one that I did get came with the Glock night sights. However, most models just come with the plastic sights. So, you know, nothing crazy there. But the big thing with the Glock is definitely the reliability and the price point. I've been seeing a lot of used Glock 48s for the $399 price range. All right, next up, we've got 3 targets in front of us. We're going to do a 2-2-2 drill, reload, 2-2-2. And so that's a total of 12 shots with 1 reload. So 6, reload 6. Let's compare the P365 to the Glock 48 and see which one's easier to run this drill with. All right, that was the P365. Reload was a little delayed, but wasn't horrible overall. Let's see how we scored. So 4 shots total here. You know, some of these shots are from prior drills, but we got down 1, down 2, and down 0. So only down 2 on that. That wasn't too bad. Let's try it with the Glock. All right, that was a really smooth run, the Glock 48. We did that in 6:29. Let's check our score. So we are down 1, down 0, down 0. So 6:29, 12 shots, 3 targets, down 1. So that's not too bad from the Glock 48. One thing I'd like to point out is all of my draws today are from the pocket. So it's not the easiest draw method that there ever was in terms of magazine draw. But this is a nice little pocket clip to carry your magazine in, and it's what I use for carry, so it's what I'm using for practice. But just wanted to show you guys that if some of the magazine reloads are a little slow, you might recognize that this isn't coming out of like a Kydex magazine holster. And also notice that I'm carrying at the 3 o'clock position, or like 4 o'clock position today. And why am I doing that? Well, number one, I honestly don't feel comfortable carrying SIG pistols in the appendix. I know a lot of folks do. I've done it before, but with all of the P320 issues that are out there, and I haven't heard of any with the P365. So I don't doubt that it's not a problem with that pistol. It's just once something like that happens, it can't be undone, right? So I'm not going to take that risk, especially when I'm doing fast draws, especially when the P365 doesn't have a trigger safety. So since I'm doing it with the P365, I'm doing it with the Glock. I've actually gotten more back to carrying in the 4 o'clock. I've been carrying in an appendix style for a few years now, and I really enjoy that. It is faster for me on the draw. It is easier for me to conceal a pistol, but there is a higher risk there. It's also less comfortable for bending over. It's less comfortable when sitting down, depending on the pistol, depending on the holster. So I've just moved back to carrying a lot more 4 o'clock. And with my body type, I can conceal still pretty well. And that's how I've carried the majority of my 15 or so years that I've been carrying a pistol. All right, next up, we're going to be doing some accuracy testing. Let's see how we do 10 shots on target at 10 yards. First up, we've got the Glock 48. All right, that's a pretty great group with the Glock 48. Of course, I dropped one right there just to mess it up, and I shot one a little high. But 6 of those shots are the same hole, with that 7th and 8th one being really close. So that's right at about, inch and a quarter at 10 yards offhand. Not too bad from the Glock 48. All right, next up, we've got the Sig Macro 10 yards accuracy test. All right, that's the P365, 10 shots at 10 yards. Pretty much all on target right there, so it's pretty good. I ate out the center right here with 3 or 4 shots. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like the P365 trigger on the Macro and other triggers that I've tried will be a little easier, especially for beginner shooters to shoot accurately. The Glock trigger and the Glocks are very capable of accuracy, as you've seen with this. I did pull one off the target. We'll say that this one is pretty much on target, but that was a little bit slower rate of fire, a little more concentration on the trigger. All right, shooters, we're back here at our Cowboy Action Series shooting house. Got a couple targets that are right outside of the double doors that we're going to come through. And then we've got a couple further targets. So the drill is bust through the door, double tap each of the close targets, and double tap both of the far targets. Let's see whether the P365 Macro or the Glock 48 are easier to run this drill with. All right, that all happened pretty quick. That was 8 shots, a door kick and 8 shots in 3.25 seconds. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really tracking sights on that, so let's see how we did. All right, this target all hits in the 0 zone. This target all hits in the 0 zone. These further ones are where I might have dropped a shot or two. So we dropped 1, down 1, and 1, down 3. So not too bad considering the speed, with the P365 Macro. All right, next up, let's check out the Glock 48. That was 364 with the Glock 48. So let's see how we did. We'll check the further targets first. So this one here, I kept all in. This one here, I went down one. So a little better. I did take a little more time on those further shots on this one. So, you know, I wouldn't say it's the gun or the other. But here, we've got down one on the close target. And over here, down one on this close target, but it's very close to the line. So I would say the two are very comparable when it comes to running drills like this. The Sig Sauer does have a little bit better trigger. The Glock, you know, has less quality problems, you know, compared to the Sig per other people's reviews. So I haven't experienced any quality problems in this range day, but I don't have a lot of experience around count with the P365. All right, shooters, I hope you enjoyed that video. Today we compared the Glock 48 to the Sig Sauer P365 Macro. I enjoyed shooting both pistols. I recently got to do a review on both, so I hope you've checked those out. And as always, thank you all for joining, and God bless.